What is going on, guys? It is your boy Az. We are back here with another morning video for you guys. Hope you guys are having a fantastic morning. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic start to your day, or whenever you guys are tuning into this video. Hopefully you guys are just feeling fantastic in general. And yeah, usually I like to do these morning updates for you guys in case you guys might have missed it. But yes, we did get a blog post yesterday, and of course, if you were paying attention to the envoys, they also had an early blog release as well regarding Maestro's kit. This has been kind of heavily speculated, and we've all been kind of wondering what the heck is this next character gonna do. So we're gonna take a look at his kit today in case you guys haven't already, and you'll get my two thoughts, my sense on it as well. And yeah, and then we're kind of at this juncture here where, like, do we build him up or do we wait? And I think, depending on where you are in the game, depending on what your resources and gold is looking like, it's gonna be different, the player to player, right? And of course as well, I'll give you guys my 2 cents, and we'll see if it's worth it or if it's not. But without further ado, let's jump into it. First and foremost as well, before I get into his kit, I actually want to briefly just talk about the previous two Battle World characters as well here. So in case you guys might have forgotten, the first one that we did have was a long time ago, last year, and yes, it was Null. He was an absolute blockbuster. I think his arrival and his kit was very unique because of the fact that he brought in a new game mechanic. Much like any of the new Battle World bosses or characters that come into the game, they always have some sort of type of new mechanic. And in this case, Null brought in Darkness. Darkness was crazy because this allowed the ability to actually stop Mephisto. This gave him Drain. This caused characters to attack each other. It was an absolute it was just, yeah, it was mind-blowing. A lot of people wanted Null unlocked, and regardless, even when his boss event comes back for his shards, everybody wants to make sure they can get him up to 7 yellow because he is that good of a character. And even now, I would still say he is really good in terms of his overall kit, even compared to Sentry. His special allows him to summon Carnage. This also fuels his ability to, to his speed bar. And on top of that, he also gets more speed, and he flips all his negatives when he does the special as well. And I think that it's really annoying. If you've played against Null and you know that he uses his ult first turn, that's a big doozy. And then right after that, he flips all his buffs. And actually, he's one of the reasons why a lot of people have picked him for the Xavier Saga. It's because of his kit. So it's no surprises. He is a freaking monster of a Battle World character. And nonetheless, I think because of the fact that he doesn't just stretch to Cosmic Crucible, he goes into Arena. You can use him in Cosmic Crucible, you can use him in War, and you can use him in Raids. His bound is endless. And of course, no surprises here. He gets my vote as probably the best Battle World character right now, currently in game, at least until we see what Maestro can do. Now, Sentry. Now, I will say that I was not really ever that big of a Sentry fan. I wasn't really a big fan of the Thunderbolts movie either. So again, this is just my personal opinion. And of course, the movie never sold me. And of course, even when I got the character unlocked at the start, I think on the first or second week that he was even released, there was issues with his passive on Crucible. So he just never really stuck with me. But having said that, I do have him at level 64, and he can stop speed and speed bar. So I mean, the speed stat and the speed bar can be stopped by one character alone. So he gets my respect for that. He is level 64 because of that, and I use him lots in Crucible, especially if I'm fighting against teams that do have that speed advantage. So Accursed, Starjammers, Mephisto, this level 64 character can stop them all. And it's pretty amazing that he can do that by himself without any type of synergy with teams. And he is in Crucible, he is an excellent plug-and-play character. However, having said that, because of the fact that he is only a Crucible character, I have limited my my focus on him and leveling him as well, because there is definitely for sure a more of a focus for my end towards the raid and PvE characters. And Cosmic Crucible, I'm hot and then I'm cold with it. Sometimes I feel like hey, I really want to get a good Cosmic Crucible run and I want to just kick everybody's butt. And then other times I'm kind of like, yeah, hey, we can kind of, we can let loose a little bit and just relax for the weekend. And, maybe I'll miss a few attacks here and there. But either way, he does have my respect. And, of course, he does have his Void form as well, which basically causes him to go on the enemy battle world side, and then of course he's causing damage and havoc as well. So I mean, this was a unique mechanic to him as well. And now we can get into Maestro. Maestro is also unique because now he brings on a new mechanic himself as well. This is going to be Wrath. This is interesting because this new mechanic seems to be caused, usually, like with darkness, with void. We can kind of sort of control when those effects are applied. But with regards to Wrath, it's really just applied on whoever attacks. And this is what gets me a little bit skeptical about this character because it basically on his passive, when this character is attacked, if the enemy, if the characters don't have Wrath, then they get applied Wrath. And it seems to only apply it to the attacking enemy, so it doesn't really seem like he has any control on who gets the Wrath, because depending on who you attack Maestro with, and let's say we're using Maestro in raids, let's say we're using him in PvE content, you don't really know who's going to attack him first until you play the battle out, and unless you map out everybody's speed and you know exactly who the fastest character is and speed up and all that other stuff, it's going to be a big headache. But I guess the one thing is he's unpredictable, and I don't know if I like that right now. But having said that, his passive is very intriguing because he is immune to darkness. So hey, now null doesn't even work on him. And he also gets 50% reduction and 50% focus. And on top of that, he is immune to all negative effects. Now that is really cool because now, unlike Sentry, his character kit actually doesn't seem like it restricts him to just Cosmic Crucible or Battle World or even War. He seems to be available depending on whatever game mode you want, because there is no limit to what he can do here in terms of his abilities. It doesn't say, oh, in Battle World only or in Cosmic Crucible. It's also interesting because on spawn he also gets Safeguard as well. So again, we are seeing a fairly good amount of passive on his character kit, and actually no complaints here. I think his overall passive is actually kind of what I thought was going to be. I thought maybe he was going to get some sort of immunity. I just didn't know what type of immunity, and I didn't expect this damage reduction as well. So that's going to be very interesting to see what it actually does. His ultimate, he can clear barrier from enemies. He attacks for 400% piercing and prolongs the duration of all the negatives. So again, if they have the bleeds, if they have all the other stuff that he's already applied, and he's got the Wrath as well, he's going to apply more stuff onto them. So this is actually like, I don't know, like I'm feeling like he might even be viable in arena right now is what I'm thinking. So I don't know, guys. I've got like, I'm kind of excited for his kit here, and it's gonna be a turn 2 alt, so he won't be able to use his turn turn 1 on alt, but for sure, you want him to apply the negatives first, and then once all the negatives are on the board, then he can use his big alt. But just imagine this for a second. Professor Xavier goes turn 1 and does his little special and causes the blinds, and then somehow with Maestro speed, if there's no cancellation of his speed, he goes faster. And then, somehow he gets the turn 2, and then he just spreads more negatives, and he's got the Wrath. Like, I can definitely see there's definitely a lot of theory crafting that can be used with this character. And that's just one example. That's just with Professor Xavier. Imagine what he can do with other characters that can cause mass amounts of negatives. Like, for example, even with the new teams right now that we've got with the Champions and the Daring Warriors. Like, his plug and play is actually kind of equivalent to the other 2 Battle World bosses. You can kind of fit him in here. And I mean, yeah, he is a gamma tagged character as well. So of course there's going to be probably some sort of synergy with, with the gamma characters, and maybe they'll get a buff. I'm not sure yet. Maybe they'll announce it, but I am very, very intrigued right now on his kit. And again, his special, attacking primary and adjacent targets, flipping all positive. So again, there's that, he's going to use this special turn 1. So he's going to flip a whole bunch of positives. So just imagine there's all these negatives, death proof and bleeds and all this other stuff, and he flips them all. And then of course, if they have Wrath, if they have somehow had a turn, because he isn't that fast of a character. He's kind of in the mid range. I think, what is it? He's 120, he's 126, which is fairly kind of in the middle of the pack. He's not like super fast, but he's also not slow. He's definitely not slow. So yeah, like slow, we're talking to like Drax and I'm just trying to think here, Groot, like those characters like under 100, right? So his 126 speed, I think that's kind of anyways, so he isn't a slow character at all, and once he flips the speed ups or whatever positives, my goodness gracious, I mean, yeah, he is actually like, you kind of almost want characters to be faster than him so that he can apply his wrath, and then just imagine he gets his turn, he flips them, and then when he gets to his alt and unleashes that massive, just a massive earth-shattering attack to the to everybody. He's gonna be able to prolong all the negatives. He's gonna be able to he's gonna be able to clear the barrier. He's gonna be able to apply even more negatives. It's gonna ignore defense up even if they even if they have it on. And then enemies that are killed can't be revived. So guess what? If you're thinking about like let's use that arena example again, where maybe you're fighting up against Professor Xavier with Dormammu team. If this kills and wipes them out, yeah, like they're not gonna come back. So, guys, I don't know. I it definitely changes the tune for me because I thought for sure I was just gonna say, hey, like I think maybe we can just skip him, and I'm not saying we can or we can't. For anybody that is leveling your Clips characters or your Daring Warriors or your Night Thrashers or even Speedball, like yeah, you're gonna be able to get this character even earlier now, and overall, I'm actually quite impressed with his kit. His kit looks very enticing because, like I already said, he doesn't have any type of specific battle limitation. He seems to be able to, perform at 100%, whether it's War, whether it's Cosmic Crucible, and heck, even Arena. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see. Actually, it's funny. Even his basic like seems a little crazy. Like I've never seen a basic with this much going on. He can basically clear the positives and apply 2 bleeds. And if the enemy has 3 wrath, like by some miracle, if you already used your special on your alt and somehow they're still alive and they've got like 3 wrath now he can hit everybody with his basic and reduce safeguard. My goodness gracious, yeah, he is unbelievable right now. From what I can see, is he's going to be very exciting. I think a lot of people are going to be pretty. I think you know what actually. Let me just back up a bit here. I think lots of people have been kind of like negative with and I don't blame them. I don't blame you guys. The game's sediment state and just everything lately. That like there's bugs in the game where we can't even farm our gold and our training materials right now because they have that find function is gone. They nerfed a lot of our they nerfed the world milestone, save the world, whatever, our T4s, our gold. The war doesn't pay out anymore. T4s, like there's. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. There's been a lot of negative sentiments, but I gotta be honest. It's been a while. It's been a while. In the last few weeks where I've actually been saying like, hey, like this is kind of exciting. Like Maestro was first announced, and then they said, oh, you need this amount of characters, and you need to have Daring Warriors, you need to have champions, and honestly, I was thinking, oh gosh, like this game is just it just hasn't been vibing with me well. And now I can truly say like after yesterday's blog, like I'm actually pretty excited for Maestro. And hey, that doesn't necessarily mean hey, you gotta get him ASAP. You gotta gear up your Night Thrasher. You gotta get him to 7 yellow. You gotta start buying all these offers from these guys. No, that doesn't mean that, guys. We don't need to do that, right? If you're not in that petition, if you're not in that position to spend money, or you're not in that position to use your power cores to get additional whatever to get ahead on his shards, it's not going to impact you too much, guys. Yes, you are going to get additional shards when you level up your Night Thrasher, when you get your Speedball, when you get maybe Eclipse up, and you're going to get extra shards on them, and like it's going to give you a jump. You're just going to get a head start to Maestro's shards, but it's not going to be game changing, right? At any point in the game, and it was the same with Null, it was the same with Sentry. I was never in an alliance where we got him in the first run of it, right? We were always in the middle of the pack. We got Null kind of like maybe a week after everybody else got him, and then yeah, back with Sentry. I think a lot of people have Sentry probably like 5 or 6. So kind of where we're sitting right now. And again, it's the same with Maestro. Like, well, yes, we don't have the early shards on him. Yes, it's too bad. But end of the day, like, everyone's in a different position in the game, and you know, you just got to focus on your game, right? Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just focus on how you're playing, and kind of, you know, go by your own pace, right? Because the game is, you know, it's supposed to be, you know, you can't max it all out in 1 week or 1 month, right? You got to take your time with it. And same thing, like, eventually, right? Eventually, we had our null maxed out. We got the 5 diamond thanks to the random luck of the Echo Orb. And yeah, I mean, at one point we only had, like I said, we were maybe 2 weeks behind, or maybe 1 week behind everybody else, and it was fine. We kind of just got it done, and eventually everyone will get there. And I imagine it'll be the same with Sentry. We don't have Sentry at 7 right now, but hey, I'm sure when he comes back and he has his little boss battle thingmading, I'm sure we'll probably get him there eventually, and it's not a big race. And like I said, even right now at 6 yellow, we don't really care. Like, yeah, maybe for some people that are hardcore Crucible masters, definitely for sure it makes a difference. But for myself, yeah, I just could never, I could never push myself to getting him unlocked, because yeah, I don't know, he was never in my corner. And like I said, it might be just a personal opinion of mine, it might just be personal bias. But Maestro, I'm stoked. I'm stoked about, guys. I will have to kind of figure out, you know, like, hey, do I still want to bring up champions? Do I want to get a few extra stars on Eclipse? You know, get the red star going when the event does go live in a few weeks here. I think it's another week and a bit. But yeah, I think I have my mind made up now, and for sure, I'll probably kind of stick with a free-to-play perspective as well, and at the same time, you know, not blow all my cores, but also still keep a bit, because we have a nihilist around the corner. We don't want to push ourselves into a situation where tier 21's around the corner, and then we're going to be strapped with no cores to do anything, and there's going to be the next new material that we need. But I will say, like, you know, if I have gold, which you guys know I do. I have 400 mil here. We can bring up some champions. We can maybe work on some of the, you know, get the free-to-play shards with Moon Girl and Sam Nova, who's coming in this week on Thursday, I believe, for the Fractal store. So, yeah, we can work on those shards. We can do it the free-to-play style. We don't need to blow power cores. We can save the cores for that. And, of course, as well, like I said, it's going to be very interesting. I think for the people that are able to get them unlocked, I'm going to be definitely for sure on the watch for seeing how his actual gameplay is, and hopefully maybe even the envoys have maybe a sneak peek of what he can do, and maybe some of the teams that they're, you know, hoping to get him involved with, right? Because I'm thinking probably Scopely has an intended team that they want him to, you know, be played with, and of course I'm very, very curious now as to what that team is. But yes, his overall kit is very intriguing to me. And where do I stand with Maestro right now? Well, definitely for sure I say I am excited. And at the same time, I'd say, you know, if you guys aren't sold by his kit, hey, you know, I respect that. You know, not everybody's going to be a fan of him. I feel like it's also going to be where you are in the game right now and where you want to put your resources. And that's entirely fine, guys. But yes, I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of where I stand. And yeah, I feel like I'm stoked. I'm excited for Maestro's kit. He looks good on paper. Obviously, anything on paper, you also got to translate that to gameplay and actually see it as well. So just be mindful of that. It might change, or maybe he'll get a buff. Maybe he'll even get bigger if his impact isn't as what they intended. Like look what happened with Eclipse. Her initial release wasn't really what they wanted, and they have to buff her up a little bit. So, anyways, guys, that's all I got for this one. Hopefully, helps you guys out. That's kind of my little beef on the Maestro, and hopefully you guys, what do you guys think? Do you guys think he's going to be a game changer? Do you guys think he's going to change the meta up? I for sure want to, I want to see what he looks like when he's actually in the game and see if he can, put some, maybe mess things around in the arena, kind of change it up a little bit, because it's been pretty stale in the arena and the same repetitive teams over and over. But, of course, as well, keep in mind, even if you don't go for Maestro, keep in mind, we do have other, we have a Nihilist around the corner. We have tier 21 around the corner. And I'm sure there's going to be some other super arena or meta breaking character. So even if you don't want to focus on Maestro and you want to just kind of keep him in the background noise, that is entirely fine as well, guys. Anyways, I hope this was informative. Hopefully you guys found this useful. Otherwise, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.